Welcome back. We're wrapping up our discussion discussing Canada's record low fertility rate. Definitely not something to be laughing about. It's a very serious or very serious implications of that. But one interesting takeaway from the recent Cardus report, it was a demographer who actually conducted this report, when it's the suggestion that women are not having as many kids as they'd actually like to have. So we're unpacking that. Andrea, just before we went to commercial, you wanted to hit a second point on and to finalize what we were discussing there.
Yeah, so I had already mentioned Hannah's Children, the book. It's a lengthy book by Captain Ruth McCulloch, and she actually goes and finds segments of society in America where women continue to have many children. And she asks them the questions around why they're doing so, how they are doing so, how do they manage it, what are their economic lives like, do they work, all these things. And she really found a breadth of different families doing different things, but she categorized large families as five or more, which definitely counts today. Anything more than two in this world is a large family. So, learning from her work, you can see different reasons. And I think that is an important aspect. She's done some really unique research on this front. And it's important because it's very hard to tackle low fertility. It's very hard for governments to figure out what to do. We know, even you mentioned Hungary, they do a lot, but their birth rate is not yet, if I'm not mistaken, above 2.1. It can
Wow.
sort of nudge up fertility rates, but then it can appear that there's nothing that can be done. I would not want to take that kind of lackadaisical attitude. I think we need to be making the economy better. We need to be addressing the tax rates for families. We need to be addressing aspects of social supports. But all of it with this goal of saying families are good and kids are good and we want to have more of them. So unpacking why is really complex, but I think Catherine Ruth McCulloch has done a lot of work on that. And also, we shouldn't take a defeatist attitude.
Well, I feel sort of defeatist when you share with me that the government, they're not having these conversations. And of course, the question I have to ask is why? Why are they not having these conversations? Why
You
are
know
they?
why,
Yeah,
Tanya?
tell me,
It's
tell
because
me.
of this old school feminist. It's this wrong-headed old school feminism that they think that reproductive issues are entirely private and that choice has been achieved. And I would say in this day and age that really we've had so many decades of focal points on how to diminish children or how to achieve abortion rights or aspects of that. We don't have a conversation on the other side for women who want to have children and achieve them and have families. And so a lot of these politicians, to be blunt, are men. They're uncomfortable with it. And they
Hmm.
think in terms of a kind of 1960s rubric of the fulfilled life of women comes through career, essentially. So you can see that deer in headlights look. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun. I will make sure I ask a lot more politicians these types of questions and see how they respond.
My goodness. Well, I still remember, I think it was in the 60s this was said, that the by Trudeau Sr., that the government has no business in the bedrooms of the nation, but they are in the bedroom of the nation. When you tax people so overwhelmingly, when you are implementing public policies that will hinder someone's choice to expand their family if they desire that, when we talk about true choice, then how are you not in my bedroom? And so whether the government likes it or not, they have to be having this conversation, and to not
Yeah, and
have it is
yeah,
harmful.
the choice framework, it falls apart when women hit infertility because that's where you first encounter
Mm.
that having children may not be your choice. It may not be
Right.
possible. Oftentimes, solutions are hard to come by. And again, as we opened, I mentioned a lot of people suffer immensely through this, and they kind of are invisible, and they're not even allowed to suffer. It's because again, the elite attitude would be like, if you have a successful career, what more could you possibly want? That's the fulfilled life. So I think that it's a very one-sided conversation. I would like for those women and men who desire to have families and can't to be more visible and have
Yes.
their suffering at least acknowledged, right? We can do that at
So,
very least.
in the 20 seconds we have left, what other things would you like to see the government do?
I do think that we can at least agree that the economic approach of the past decade or so has not been successful. So let's try something new. It seems that we are not in economic good times. Canada's productivity is low. All these things factor into economic decisions. Culture is such a big part of fertility, but I wouldn't want to downplay the economic problems that families do face and the ability to make money, basically.
Yeah, no, totally. We'll have to have you on in the new year with your new book. I'm looking forward to reading that. Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank you.